Let's see. We're live, and this appears to be working. It appears to be working. 1, 2. It says it is. We'll see when someone shows up. This week it does work. If there's any normalcy on this. Afternoon. You can hear me, right? It's coming through loud and clear, or at least clear, or coming through. We'll see which one it is. Because I see the meter. I see everything working this time. There we go. Hooray. Got it to work finally. It's about time. So, yeah, it should have been working. We just did a program Wednesday for Jack Tucker for Gold Fever Radio. Everything worked fine then, but that happened last time too, where just a couple days prior everything was working good. And then we got in here and everything didn't. Again, we're live because nothing was set up. I was given that last minute. Oh, by the way, you need to go live. So I was like, okay. So kind of the routine now. There we go. Hey, Real Batman. Hey, Ed Riley. Pat. AZ Gold Hunter. Glenn. Debbie. David. So got everybody coming in. So we're giving it that moment. It's a mild 101 out there today. Actually, very pretty nice. We don't have much cloud cover, but it is much milder. The mornings have been in the 70s. Next week, into next week, we should be in the 60s on the lows and in the 90s. So it's going to be, it's a little quiet. Well, I'm not messing with it, and you got a volume knob. So, and I'm not going to even touch the mic. I mean, I can see that it's registering. I think we need a longer cord for it so I can set it up here more. But that's that. It's working. So did your mom's camera ever show up again? Oh, yes, my mom's camera shot. I don't know where it's sitting, but yeah, that was a very weird one. How did you? I'm trying to remember where we talked about that, but yes, my mom's camera. Yeah, we couldn't find it. And then it was very weird because I'd used it in the mountains. And then it, oddly enough, showed up with a clip in it, an SD card that had the last pictures she ever took, which was weird in itself. And it showed up on a shelf in plain view. I just walked in the room one day and looked over and saw it sitting there. It was a weird thing. Yeah, that was nice job on Gold Fever. Thank you. Yeah, Jack Tucker's easy to work with. And we went on for a while after that. So, yeah, talked a little bit after the fact and all. So we'll have to see. I don't know if we could pull off a live out there at the Rendezvous. That would be interesting. Even though I'm telling Trevor that I want him to set us up so that we have a program running while we're at the Rendezvous. But it would be interesting to see if we could pull 40, 45 minutes live at the Rendezvous. That old watch. Yeah, it's in the other room. I know right where it's at. It's sitting there in plain view. But it's at the other end of the house right now. But yeah, I did run across it and found it. It was actually the day after that. I was sitting there going, man, where did I set that? And then I was shortly thereafter walking by and looked over and saw, oh, okay, now I know where it's sitting. So it's sitting in plain view. Because I think I had it out because I kept thinking Frank said he could get it working again. And I kept kind of twisting. Did I want to get it working again, or did I want to leave it just set where it was? Live at the Rendezvous is so cool. It would be cool. I don't know if it would how bad it could buffer because it's so bad out there. So inconsistent. It's better in the evening. I think it does a little better in the evening, but in the afternoon, this time of day, it's really can be ridiculous. Sometimes you can't even make a phone call out of there. So there's that. I might be able to provide a hotspot that day for responses. So I work for the phone company. Well, there you go. So, and we might try it. I don't know. I think we tried a couple times, and like I said, it's so intermittent. When we were working out of the Quarter Circle U, we had this really kind of cool thing. We'd walk around, and whenever someone would have a cell, get a good cell signal where they'd be able to talk, and we'd put an X on the ground so that everybody'd know that spot worked really well. And we did that, and there were some days you'd walk around and see X's everywhere where we'd kind of try to wipe them out and make a new one because it changed through the day, would move around. But we had to do that, and then I think it was just about a week of that, and then they got a satellite phone, and we used a satellite phone out of there. Then the satellite phone lasted till they found out everybody, not the talent, but the crew, were using the satellite phone for all kinds of. It was supposed to be just purely for production back and forth to Los Angeles, but they started using it for personal calls and everything else. They got the first week's satellite bill, and then the satellite phone disappeared. So that was a tough one for them. It wasn't our fault because I never touched it. I actually had my work radio, so I could actually get a hold of people and stuff. And that old thing, well, wasn't old, but that thing actually was pretty powerful. Worked a lot better than the cell phones. So anyways, it's a thought. It's food for thought for out there on Friday. We will see how it is and how things go. And then the other problem is you get out there and you're out there and you're doing what you do. You set up camp and talking to people, and then you just completely forget that, I was going to do live at 4:00. What time is it? 4:48. Ah, crap. So there's that problem. I think sunset would be around 6 then. I think around then, November 3rd. So I think it would be about 6 p.m. sunset. So that can cause a little problems too. I'm surprised Starlink hasn't. I need to call Elon Musk. And so, but yeah, call Elon Musk and say, hey, Elon, man, hook me up out there for a minute, okay? Because I got that kind of pool, right? No. So anyways, it's been a much cooler week. People suddenly have jumped out of the woodwork going, hey, yeah, let's go in the mountains. It's like, no, it's still hot and I'm busy at work. So it is still warm. The mornings are cool finally. And it's tolerable. If there's cloud cover right now, it's actually pretty nice. But without the cloud cover, it's pretty warm. And, there's places that are in a heat wave when it's 90, 95. So it's still in the hundreds. It's just not so intense and just doesn't make you just drain you. So, and I am a little lower energy because you can tell I look a little ragged, but I've been in 5 days of all day meetings and just got out of another one. And it's about a design project at work for a software replacement. So it's a lot of sitting there and listening to people talk all day and stuff. And while it's a very important project and it's a cool project, I am not used to just sitting there and watching stuff on a screen and listening to people talk all day. I'm used to being able to get up and down and move around and physically go out in the field and stuff. So it's just kind of like, it's kind of a weird thing. It's more tiresome than physically doing stuff all day. But been doing that. So the energy kind of drains out of you because the presentations and everything else through the day. I know, woe is me, not having to go out and sweat all day. Howdy, there is a brand new claim steak at Burns Ranch. Code 2. Well, there was a bunch of them out there. I know, you remember that, Kim. How are you doing, Kim, by the way? But Yeah, there was a bunch of them before, so they probably destroyed their claim stakes and they had to put new ones in. Have to look that one up to see who that is. Yeah, but they might have redone it because, like I said, they tore a lot. A lot of stuff gets torn up out there. They get put up again, so I'd have to look through some of my photos and stuff to kind of keep track of that stuff and see how recent it is, or if it's an existing one, or it's one that they had to reinstall. So there you go. But good to see everybody. It's another Friday. And here we are with audio. It's just so awesome having audio. Okay. Get new me in 5 days. I'll be ready. That's good, man. I'm hoping everything goes well. So I'll be thinking about you, Kim, and everything, and all of that is good. So I knew that was coming or just about to happen. I remember when you told me last time. So that'll be good for you, and everything else working well. So everybody else, good. I really didn't talk to anybody this week because of the meeting schedule. The meeting schedule meant I couldn't just intermittently here and there go, hey, I'll check and see how so-and-so's doing or how so-and-so's doing. And then the afternoon, evenings, after being on the live calls and everything and the meetings, and while I was in person and then dealing with everything, it just literally was, I'm done with even touching my phone today. And pretty much, other than pushing out the video on Monday, the evenings, I've just been letting the phone. If you guys are not having pizza, I'm logging off. It's not pizza. I'm having a sub sandwich. I think they're having chicken. So the other kids are up north. So the pizza Fridays are gone again until probably, I don't know if we'll do it on Thanksgiving, but it'll be until Christmas winter break. They won't be back. So it's kind of to a different schedule. So, and we all agreed. So I will stick to it. But yeah, they did. Whatever it was, I think there wasn't something for me tonight, but I'm going to have a sub sandwich. Looking out West Valley, we got massive damage Tuesday, storms. Here in Northeast Mesa, we get it out here too. We've had, actually, that last storm really came through here really, really bad. It did disrupt a lot of stuff, but it's just after you see it once, I see most of it in the mornings and watch it, and then get follow up for it at work and stuff. So it's kind of, and it's funny how the microbursts in town work, and you can't really put a finger on exactly, I know one time it was Cave Creek Road, just north of Thunderbird, all the big power lines through there. It knocked those poles out. Once it took one, it took another. There was an individual who had actually was in the house, had just been out in the pool, came in the house, and then one of the power lines, the main lines off of cables on Cave Creek Road, fell into his pool. And what was pretty wild was it went through his whole system. Because it hit the pool, it ended up going through his water pipes into the house and then through all his electrical lines. So he was in the house. And basically, I remember they were saying if he would have been like getting a glass of water, he probably would have got electrocuted. But it ran through everything, metal, wiring, metal pipes, everything through his house, and just fried his house. I remember talking to him the day after, but it was amazing because those poles are huge, and on that area, they're not wood poles. They were metal poles, and it just snapped them like toothpicks all the way down Cave Creek Road. And there must have been 10 or 15 of them snapped. It's a pretty crazy thing. This is a number of years back. Besides pro guitar, over 15 years, land surveying, always dreaded weekly meetings. Yeah, I'm not a meeting guy. Sub sandwich, okay, thanks. Barely a pass. Great show with Jack, thanks. Yeah, Jack's always good, man. Good rapport with Jack, man. Good old Jack Tucker. So, So it was good. You get the same view, right? That's kind of sucks. I got to figure out something different when I do a radio show. Even though I like to use this setup, maybe something in the background, do something different. When I do meetings and stuff, sometimes it's this if I'm at home, but then other times I use we have that, what do you call it, a background of the Superstitions at sunset with the sun hitting upon them, and we use that sometimes. But I figure that just seems kind of phony for this. I don't want anybody to ever look at it and say, oh, that's a phony baloney background. So greetings, Wayne. Go gold prospecting from San Antonio, Texas, where every day is a golden day. Fried fish nuggets for supper here. Well, let's talk about dinner since I got another 45 minutes or so to go. Trevor's eating right now. I think he's down at I don't know where he's at. He's at a bar grill somewhere. They're having food. They're having Friday after work. So now you know where your educators are. They go after send the children and everybody away. They go off and have beer and food afterwards. But he's with his fellow coworkers, and they're doing their thing. And I told him I'll be fine. So he's to have his moment. I had plenty of those, even before he was born and after he was born. That was I'd get off work, and then I'd tell the wife, you have to pick Trevor up because we're going to the Q. There was a place called the Q down by where I was working. Big letter Q. And I don't know why. I don't know what it stood for. They had one pool table though. But and we would go down there for beer after work. And that was a Friday thing. We did it other times, but this is when I was working as a trim in the trim carpenter shops and so forth. And it's just the sawdust and stuff and everything from the day. We'd hit some beers to get it out of our throats and drive home. And I didn't ever want to risk anything driving home with him in the truck if I'd had even just a couple beers. So she picked him up, and then I just went to the Q. And we hung out at the Q for a couple hours after work and just kind of blew off steam. It was always good. That was always a good one. So now he's doing the same. It's a little different crowd than I was with. So my crowd was a little rowdier and probably a little rawer than his is, but you never know with a group. You never know what they're like. But I would take it with Trevor. I think it's a photography teacher, a history teacher. Yeah, I just don't see them being the same as we were. Sorry about that. So that being all said and done, we're getting into the week. We got Jack Sanfelice's book out, Finding El Dorado. Haven't heard anything from Jack. He's been very quiet. Kind of threw me off because we're talking up to the lead for it breaking. He got the first handful of copies. Started getting those out. Wanted to do the Rendezvous and some other things, and then he went very quiet. So I kind of thought that was kind of funny. So I'm hoping the book's doing good and all. I didn't call him. Like I said, this was one of those weeks I didn't really get to talk to anybody. So that was something, I never got to. It was kind of an odd week. And next week's going to be similar. I got 3 weeks of this. So it's going to be a tough one. I'll be I was sick of meetings before we did the first one of this. And now I'm going to definitely be done with meetings. But I think because I avoid them so much, I'm getting paid back in full right now. But don't know what that is. Anyhow, so hadn't really got caught up a lot of stuff, and then the weather's turning, which is very nice. So it's finally good. And, I got to do the show with Jack and covered ground there, covered a little on the Rendezvous. And then usually at this time of year is when I'm talking to everybody for week after week, kind of setting things going and getting the tone set. This is also the time the Dawns of Arizona, everything kicks up. We had a planning meeting, so for the outings for the Dawns for the rest of the year, and talked about some other stuff. So we're kind of gearing up for everything the rest of the year. So it was kind of odd that then I ended up in this meeting situation right after that and haven't moved much of anything forward. And like I said, I could look at my phone. I haven't talked to anybody this week, really. Prospecting or researching plans for this weekend. No, I'm planning on staining bathroom cabinets. So this is also the time that I have to look at a few things that through the summer I was working on and get a couple of things done, um, to make sure it's ensured it's done. So when the weekends really open up really nice, because remember, we're prospecting down in the desert, southern desert, the Sonoran Desert area. If we were working up north more, yeah, it would be the beautiful weather to be up, central Arizona. But we're kind of in that south central Arizona. It's very hot still. So, but if you could go on vacation, where would you go? I don't do vacations. So you go up into the mountains or this or that. I am such a poor vacation person because I like to go to places that I like to go, just spend more time at that place. So if you said, oh, you can take a week off and you get to choose, and everybody just has to do whatever you say, I would just go out with Superstitions and plan some sort of trip or something out there. I'm not, I know Trevor wants, he's talking England, Ireland, and Scotland in 2026. So New York. I laugh. Sorry, but I traveled so much when I was younger. I did that, and when we were all over the place, we did a lot of traveling. It was a lot of historical sites. So as a kid, I was at Cape Canaveral, I was at Gettysburg, I was at Little Bighorn, I was all these different places. We just went places, and when I got older, I just like Arizona, and I like kind of what I like. So I did the obligatory Disneyland, that kind of thing, and SeaWorld stuff. But that's not my kind of thing, vacation. Hey, Arkansas. There we go. Terry from Arkansas. And so I'm not that. I never was that. I think it was because when I was a kid, we did so much traveling and I went so many places that then I became more of just, yeah, what? Plugs in this Strat and clicks record. That too, but no, I can be notorious for, just say, well, I just like to go out and do the stuff I do. So I don't consider that work. I don't do it as near as enough as I'd like, even though I do it frequently enough. So you do have that thing of like, yeah, I don't, I'm not one of those people who says, oh, I have to go to Hawaii or Japan or something like that. That could be interesting, but I hate flying now. I'm not afraid of flying, but I hate flying and I don't like sitting forever. I like it when you're in the truck and you can pull over and stop every once in a while and do other things. But yeah, I would hate that. So that was when Trevor brought up Scotland, Ireland, England, I was like, oh man, are we going to Dublin? Damn. Okay, Edinburgh. Okay, huh. Stonehenge. Yeah. Oh man. So then I'm kind of torn because I'm like, it sounds like something I'd really want to do. Oh my God, what is that? A 6-7 hour flight? I not only got to fly across the United States, but then I got to go 6-7 hours after that. So, and I'm not sure I'm into that. So, yes, my vacation is just do that. And there is Brian from England. See, so there you go. Diamond hunting in Arkansas. There you can do that too. Diamond hunting in Arkansas would be so awesome. I would agree. If it was within a 2-hour trip of my truck from the front door. That's just that problem. I just have that weird mindset of if I can drive there within 2-3 hours, it just is so cool. And yeah, and then you're lucky when you got that. Yeah. So when you have something like that and stuff, I don't know if they have anything diamond. I mean, they know they got quartz stuff and the Apache Tier stuff out here. I've never heard of the diamond thing. So out here. So I don't even know if they have that. I'd have to look that up. So great to see you. That old guy found the mine. Okay. Well, I don't think he really did find the mine. So there you go. Guy from Sun City says he found the mine. Well, him and 30 other people this year. So don't be mad because he probably didn't. Probably didn't. Sorry. And by the way, Taz Bowman found the mine too. So he's not the old guy from Sun City. He's from New York, I believe. So there's competition right there instantly. So there we go. So we've bounced around vacations, diamond hunting in Arkansas, which there, people visiting in here from England, and oh, you're from Sin City. Okay. So, anyways, so kind of, I don't even know where we were going before all that because we got kind of tripped. But it's good for everybody being in today. And sorry, the energy's lower. So there we go. And we're kind of moving through. And the other thing is, I think everybody, when they find that place they like to be, they just like to be. You're upstate New York. It's still in New York. I didn't say New York City. I just know you're in New York. But you just kind of like that. And there's so much to explore, and there's such a short window in life. So that always causes that thing where I think we look out and, I mean, let's just say you have a place with a creek outside and it's just close by, and you just like, there's 10 acres, 15, 20 acres. And you can spend a lifetime in that and just be happy as a clam. So I don't know. I think we're all different. Some people, I love to explore, but at the same time, there's those just spots you just like to hang out and be. So there's that. Do you normally go to the Dons before the event to prep? Um, we'll, we'll be going out to check on the camp to see the status, to see what's going on. The Rendezvous, we don't do a major cleanup. The major cleanup we do is in January before Discovery Camp. So we usually, whatever condition it's in, we will go down and check on things to see if a few weeks before, if there's anything we need to do, if we need to go down and, clean up some stuff and kind of burn stuff up and all that. So we will go down and do that and put in some time, but it's nothing major. A lot of the maintenance, and I don't know, there was a bunch of new roofs supposed to be being put in down there. I know several of the Ramadas were getting, the smaller Ramadas or areas, the old shops were getting new roofs. So I'm not sure how much work got done. So I won't know till I get out there and see the condition. We were supposed to have a lot more. A creek comment. Yeah, and I mean, and it is true. I mean, you can be just that one little small piece of your world and say, the microcosm of what you have day to day. And I can say the same looking out the back window at the mountains behind me. It's not the superstitions, but it's, you can sit there and just go, it's just something, the attachment to something, or realize it could be far worse. You could be in the middle of the city looking just around at the high rises and stuff like that. I mean, we should all be lucky to have a creek or crick, depending where you're from. So my dad grew up in the land of cricks. I grew up in the land of creeks. All right, the Mogollon Rim. Mogollon Rim's beautiful country. Was there? Camp looks good. There you go. Kim says the camp looks good. Heard any new old Dutchman stories related? I always hear stories. Like I said, this last week or so has been very quiet because those work meetings. Okay, I got back up to Terry, then Taz at Lawrence County. He's still letting us know he lives in upper state New York. Fish Creek. So Bowman lives in Fish Creek in New York. It's 150 feet behind our farm. And now we're gonna argue who has the creek and who has the best creek, the Arkansas Creek or the New York Creek. It'll all be about creeks and cricks. I don't have either. I don't even have a wash. So I don't even have a desert wash. So that being done, now that we're done with Friday with Wayne Creek talk. Hobby farm, rattlesnakes from the swamp. Oh, Fish Creeks for gold. We never found a lot of gold in Fish Creek on lower or upper, but I always liked Fish Creek. I liked Fish Creek because it's just got some nice, cool areas and the wind comes through there. It's always got a nice breeze. So when the weather is really nice out that, but it's always a misnomer because I think people always think Fish Creek, and while it will have water, when it's the rainy season, a lot of times it's just a dry wash, a really nice dry wash, but it is way too tired to argue.
Yeah. So yeah, why argue about the creeks? Everybody be happy. Oh yeah, my creek beats your creek. Everybody has a beautiful, wonderful creek. Access for a cane walking girl. Well, you're talking Fish Creek. There's no access at all right now into Fish Creek because Fish Creek Hill is gone. So I wouldn't want, if I had a cane, I would not want to go down that hill and through where it got destroyed to get down there. Enjoyed your Fish Creek maps. There we are. Man, there's a lot of creek. We are up the creek today. So we got really rolling and twisting and turning. For a man without a creek, a lot of creek talk. So I don't know where we can go after all the creeks. Now I'm thinking I need a creek. So I got to do something and create a creek. So anyhow, that was almost half of the show we've run and we're in the creeks. We're up the creek without a paddle. So and we can continue to do that or move on to something much more important. Oh, great. Now Kim has to throw in a creek. Everybody okay? So, anyways, enough with the creeks. There's Fish Creek, yes, and there's creeks, and there are creeks. There are wonderful creeks in Arkansas. And there's wonderful creeks in New York, and wherever else. I'm sure everyone has their creeks and cricks. All right, so my bones creak. Well, okay, we're all right. Anyhow, so going into the last one. Thanks, guys. It's been a wonderful week. We'll catch you later next week on Live Legend. Some things, music on the other side. Okay. So, anyways, it's been a quiet week as we gear up for the rendezvous and that kind of stuff. And just the weather changing here, like I said, those all-day meetings kind of kill it. And you can't do much because they have a camera on and everybody can see what you're doing with your phone or your laptop. So you're just jumping in and out of work that you have to address in the moment. And you can't close your eyes. So you definitely don't want to snore in there. So it's been like I'm so used to in and out of it a bit in pieces and the phone calls and touching base with Frank or Shoes and people through the week and then jumping in and out of it, like I said, different things. And it was just so difficult this week to suddenly just be stuck in that groove. And so it becomes a little wearing, after 6, 7, 8 hours. Plus, everybody has their own dietary habits. So when they bring in food, it's just like working on films and television. Everybody has their own dietary habits they have to adhere to for their food and puts their orders in, and everybody gets their food and it's packaged and it says exactly what it is, whether it's vegan, vegetarian, if it's this or that and everything else. I don't know what the other standard, but all these different things. And believe it or not, the last 2 days they forgot my food. My food didn't arrive with everybody else's. And today I look forward to it because they were supposed to bring me a cheeseburger and fries from Red Robin. And they took all the food out. It was all chicken sandwiches and veggie sandwiches. And they said, well, we'll offer you a veggie sandwich if you want. If you've been sitting there all day waiting for a cheeseburger and fries, and someone offers you a veggie sandwich, it is not doing the trick. So I went and got some cheesy bread after work, but just something to tide me over. But yeah, I was looking so forward to that cheeseburger and fries because I kept thinking, man, they got good cheeseburgers. This place has got some pretty good food. And man, all right. Bob's map is correct. I don't know what Bob's map is. It the book from the map from Thunder God's Gold that he placed in there. Is it the Hang De Andrea map? If that's the map, or which map, or it's the map he showed on the show, which he showed 2 different maps, the Gonzalez map and the Frank Fish map. But either map, any map, none of them are Bob's. One's Frank Fish, kind of related to the Peraltas. I don't know the history. I'm going to have to go look at that, the Gonzalez map. See, I don't know if anybody's ever really done that one. So, carnivore. Yeah, well, and it's funny when you go in there and you order lunches and you're always that person. It's like you think they mess the vegans or the vegetarian person's meal up, and they get their stuff always correct. Oh yeah, and then there was a place, and I'm not going to say the name of the place, but we had Panera one day. And then we had, God, I'm trying to remember the other place. We had Panera. Anyways, one place I'd never heard of, the Gonzales map. Yeah, I don't know the full back history. I'll have to look up for that. They had a thing that had a paper sleeve, like, an envelope that you put the cookie in. And when Panera gave us a cookie, it was like this big. This place gave us a cookie, it was about that big. And it was like this weird bitter tasting nut cookie. It was really strange. I took one bite and started to chew it, and it was like, I didn't know what it was. And I tossed it out. But I won't say the place's name. I can't remember what it was. It wasn't a name brand that I've seen on television or I'd heard of. I was questioning, like, what is this place? I don't know if it's local or what it is. And I don't want to bash the small business just because my taste buds don't adhere to that. That's not always nice. So, never been a Superstition mountain. It's very hard to get where the Twin Canyons split. Beautiful place, or did film it? No, the mountains look even better than history filmed it, man. It was a really green that year we filmed too. It was really weird, even though we've been in that drought. We're getting rain now, but it rained off and on frequently enough that everything greened up. So everything looked awesome in Fish Creek. Fish Creek looked really, really good. Down in Hewitt, everything looked really, really good. And it rained just enough. There wasn't standing water, but it got everything greened up. Hey, Jax, how you doing, buddy? So there you go. Good dog. So yeah, we got really lucky during filming that. It really came across great on the camera. And we had a lot of clear weather because of that, because it was warm, but we got the rain in, but not too heavy of moisture. The air was very crystal clear, and it showed up really good on camera. I was surprised because I remember, and I look back at, the pictures I took and stuff out while we were out there and how good and how green it looked. So it was good. And Jax is, nope. As soon as I said his name, he turned around. Someone says Jackson, and I say it, and he turns. The drone footage was amazing. That was Mike Wonderly ran the drone. They didn't even know. And I talked to somebody today when we were on a break. They were talking about something about cameras and stuff. And who was it? I don't remember who it was. Anyways, we were talking about the drone cameras and footage and stuff when they did it. Mike Wonderly brought a drone, but they didn't know he had it. So we didn't use it for weeks. And then someone found out he had the drone, and we set it up. And I know we use it in Fish Creek and by Black Cross. And we were using it there, and everybody the drone became a big thing. So we actually ended up having to do pickups for a little earlier on because they would look really stupid. We'd never used a drone. And then the last 2 episodes, suddenly it's a bunch of drone footage. But he ran that drone, and it did some really cool stuff, some really cool footage off of that and stuff. And, if there was any footage, there's different things you'd want from the show that would never use. Mike would run that thing all over the place. So it wasn't just what you saw. There was hours of him just running the drone. And of course, the bigger problem is he couldn't run the drone when we're actively filming. They're just too loud. So the drone was always an afterthought of, like, it'd be good to get a drone shot here or there. We couldn't use any audio because they're just way too loud. And yeah, once you put the drone up, you can hear it buzzing. It's just, they had one shot where we're walking down Fish Creek and the drone's in front of me and I'm walking towards it. And it was a very weird thing to do because you're not supposed to look at the camera, but there's this thing floating, hovering in front of you. And yep, Jax, I see you down here. But yeah, it was totally distracting. So your eyes are always flicking to it and flicking away, flicking back to it and flicking away. And they were yelling at me, quit looking at the drone. And I'm like, but you can't fly a drone 5 feet at eye level in front of me and not expect my eyes to lock onto it. But it was loud. So especially in that proximity to me. So all that stuff we had to film and then use it for like a B-roll type of thing. But Mike Wonderly, I don't know what he's worked on since, but good guy. And once they found he had the drone, we used it a ton. Whenever we were not actively filming, sometimes he would just put the drone up and just fly it around, doing B-roll everywhere. And then we'd tell him, go fly over here, fly it over here, fly it over there. So I'd love to see that footage because he did some great footage flying that thing. I had a great shot set up I wanted them to do. I thought for the show opening or at one point or whatever they should have done is me walking, and you see me walking with the drone. And as the drone elevates, you see more of us, like Frank and Woody, then Eric and Eric, and we're in a line, and then you start seeing us converge together walking. And we talked about it, of course, because I was just talent. They didn't use my shot. But I told them, I said, that would be such a cool shot to focus in and come out. And then we come together, and then the drone comes down and comes right over us, So you know what I'm saying, right? It just kind of focused on me, ahead of me. And as it rises and starts to spread out, you see the others, and then we converge together. And once we're grouped together walking, then the drone comes zooming in and then just comes right over our heads. And you get that view of it, as it rotates, coming over our heads and showing us behind. I thought that was going to be such a cool shot. And I told them, let's just do it once, let's find a good open spot and do it one time with the Superstitions in the back. I said, that would be so cool. And then we never even attempted it. So we talked about it, and they kind of went, yeah, that's a pretty good idea. And then they just, so that would have been a cool shot. And when we first picked up the drone we have, I talked to Trevor about it, but our drone, the footage wouldn't be great. But that was always a shot I thought we should have had. I thought that would have been a great opening or a closing or finale shot of the group. And it is what it is. Plus, they are very into filming. I think the very end of filming, the last stuff we filmed that was put into the show, the drones were gone. Everything was gone. It was just they kind of minimally went down because we didn't need as much. And they thought they were done, and then they kept adding. So there was just a cameraman or two out there, but there wasn't, like, at one point 3 main cameramen, 3 others behind them, and 2 audio. I mean, at one time, it was just incredible amount of crew members on all that stuff. But the drone, everything disappeared. So at that one point, and so that was that. And they never used my shot, and I'm sad. So they should have, and someday I will get that shot, if for nothing else, just maybe a little brief music video. I need to shoot that shot, see. But then I got to get Frank and Woody and Eric and do that whole thing. But I thought that would have been a really cool shot. And then I had another one for season 2, and I said we needed to do a shot on Coronado Ridge and Coronado Mesa. And you see some guys ride up, and you see the silhouettes of these guys. And the drone comes in and comes down low and comes back up over their heads as they are sitting there looking down into the canyon, which is Fish Creek Canyon. And that would have been myself. We were hoping, get Tom, Ron Feldman's shoes on horseback with, like, me and Frank and do that shot. And I talked to them about that. I said, that would be a great opening shot, that we're doing the voiceover and kind of shows us going, the drone going through the canyon. And then the drone comes up on the ridge, and you see something in the silhouettes on the ridge, and you see all of us there, and it shoots over us. And then we would film our whatever interaction, introducing the season, whatever they had planned. That was my other great idea that never happened. So I don't think it canceled everything, but yeah, I was like, no, I got this great shot set up. And yeah, okay, thanks, William. So, well, that never happened either. Someday we should make I should be able to, I don't have the money to make an episode of just purely the stuff that I came up with and thought we should have done in the show that they never did, and let everybody go, wow, that's an awesome idea. And I didn't think any of my ideas were that bad. I thought they were just great opening shots to move into the dialogue, and they obviously weren't. So, but it's a difficult trip to get to Twin Canyons. Difficult trip depends on the person. So whether it's Twin Buttes, Twin Canyons, whatever. Did they ever use the video footage where you did voiceovers not using the actual audio? Yeah, they use that. Where I do the thing, I didn't know what it was about. They called me one evening. They're like, hey, can you do us a favor? And I'm like, what? They go, we're going to send you a list of things. Can you print it? And we want you to go somewhere and use your phone, and then send us, the voice recordings from your phone. And I'm like, what? And they're like, we need some voice recordings. So I went in and got the email, and I printed it, and I was like, oh, okay. And it was like 25 lines. And they were just brief expressions like, nah, I don't think so. Or, you know what, guys, let's just pick it up and go. So I guess it's just the audio. There was a pop or something with the audio. So I'm not thinking much of it. So I did it once in the bathroom. They said it didn't sound very good. So I did it in the closet. So I actually stood in a closet in the dark. I'd memorize a line or two, and then I'd go in the closet and record them. And one of them was, "What about 25%, Bob?" That was actually recorded in my closet. Which is so funny because when I saw it in the show, I was like, yeah, because that didn't happen in person. But no, that was, and I didn't understand it in context. It was just a line. And I didn't even think about it. I was just trying to do the voiceovers. They didn't give me any prompting. So it was just, I saw it and it said, we had a question mark at the end. So I'm like, okay, what about 25%, Bob? So I thought, okay, sounds good. What does that mean? No clue. I'll just say it into my phone and then I'll just send that along. And then they said, oh, perfect, thanks. And then when I saw the episode, I was like, oh, yeah, okay, that's what that was for. And then some of the others I caught too. Some of them, I don't even know if I kept that piece of paper to go through and find them. But you can kind of catch them because when you hear it, you generally don't see my mouth or you don't see me talking. It's kind of like from behind or something, and then you hear my voice. They did that. So, well, the closet thing was just trying to go around and find someplace quiet where you couldn't hear the air conditioning or anything else. There's no vents in the closets. So I was just like, I need some place to muffle the sound as much as possible. And I wasn't sure what they wanted. And they didn't tell me, is this supposed to be in a room? What's it supposed to match? So not if you lose 25%. I didn't know what 25% was. I had no clue, So the context it's set in is, I think, I'm trying to remember. I think it's, what about 25%, Bob? I don't know what that means. Now I know what it means. Now we all understand the context, but I didn't have what they were using it for. It's like whatever it was, I just said it. And I was like, wonder what that is, where we did that. Because I'm thinking I'm just repeating things we said. And that was, they wanted to do that because I found out later, because I questioned it, because I would call them and go like, why did we do that? And did you come out of the closet? Yes, I did when I was done. But I didn't question any of it. And what it was, they went in and they did stuff. And then afterwards, I'm like, why would we do that? That kind of, because Shoes was even like, damn, because he didn't remember it either. He's like, when did you say that? And I said, I never really did. And the whole point of the thing was, they said nobody would believe that Shoes would do it because of our friendship. He wouldn't give me the maps or do me any favors. He would be wanting to make a deal. He's a businessman, a hard man, and he'd want to do it for like 25%. And they decided that's what they had to do. That was their decision. And I'm like, no, he actually talked to me and said, no, I got these maps and we'll do it. We'll just give it to you. We'll just let you do it. No problem, man. That actually was real conversations. He said, I think these two line up. This is a real theory of his, and let's do this. And he said that would work great on camera. So we talked about it, worked that into the show. Then they decided he wouldn't do that for real, which is what he did. He would only do that for 25%. And I was like, but the real thing is he did do it for real. And they're like, yeah, but nobody will believe that. Okay. Well, there we go. Is it illegal to metal detect in the Superstitions? If so, nobody told me. Exactly. What? Yes. So you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to use any electronic, any electrical, any equipment like that. It's not just battery operated, that type of thing, even though those are battery operated, so you can kind of throw that, but you're not supposed to use anything like that in the mountains. A lot of people have done so, continue to do so, and will continue to do so. And yeah, I don't think anybody's ever been, it's funny because everybody will say, oh, if you do this, you'll get caught. Oh, if you do this, there'll be a problem. Oh, you do this, there'll be a problem. So many people have done things that you cannot do in the wilderness area, and nobody's ever gotten in trouble for it. So people have been out there and mined and cleaned stuff, shafts out, and done all kinds of blasting and still don't get in trouble. I wouldn't just say, go do it, because you probably would get in trouble and things would go sideways for you. But just saying, It's been happening for a long time. So there you go. Define illegal. Okay. Kim's just like full of himself today. 25% of nothing is, yeah, you're just a hilarious, Kim. Yeah, okay. Such a funny guy. Take your batteries out and at least headphones. No, because we've filmed stuff we've done in the wilderness area and all that. And I've seen other people do things. I know they made a big deal about the drones. People were flying the drones and taking drones in and flying them and then flying them from outside the wilderness in across the boundaries. And they made a big deal because you can only fly so and this and that. And that became kind of a thing. Because if you look, you'll see there was a lot of aerial filming with drones in the Superstitions. And then that just kind of came to a grinding halt because people said, oh, no, you can't do that. In fact, would you say I was there previously with my wife hiking and she lost her wedding ring? Well, you got to have somebody ask you first. So if you're just, it's just, we walked in. I mean, just break it down, stick it in the pack, and walk in. And if you go out, most of the places you're searching, you're not just like on the trail with everybody walking by doing it. You're out there in the mountains. So I wouldn't think it's ever a problem. I've never thought of it a problem. I think Frank walked down the trail. Magnuson certainly did, just carrying them in his hands. Most ridiculous thing. Sorry, Eric, but it was so ridiculous. He'd be carrying 2 metal detectors in a hand and something else and a shovel in the other hand, just walking along. Yeah, Eric, that just makes sense. But I think people do certain things and all, but they have the rules and restrictions. I think that's a silly one, but they have their rules. So I don't know what they would do because they filmed in the wilderness. People have filmed in the wilderness without permits. Things that they've commercially profited from it. I don't think there were any permits, and they actually dug in the wilderness during Lust for Golden Race Against Time. Remember that. They were back in there filming, and they did everything, and they dug, and then they tried to say this other guy that had dynamite and stuff that was back in there digging was doing things illegal. But sorry, Bob, Bill, you guys did the same thing. You were digging under rocks and digging. So it was the same. Yeah. So anyway, so one to the other. I mean, as long as someone isn't destroying everything or tearing everything up. I mean, the jealousy of someone getting there before you, I guess, maybe. I don't know. All right. So does not have batteries. About digging. How deep is too deep? I do not know. I do not know the rules and regulations of that because I don't do the digging. I watch the digging when it gets to that point. I just sit back and go, huh. And then if I see vehicles coming very fast in the line for that group, I just go, hey, guys, I got to go grab something to eat. I just get out of there. But no, I've never seen any problems with anything. I've never seen, I haven't seen a ranger, any forestry service guys back in the mountains in forever. We're talking decades. So, I mean, you'd have to get caught in the parking lots. And I think a lot of times people walk in and out of there. Those guys are just sitting there, just, hey, trying to answer any questions and stuff. And they're not really watching anybody unless it's a large group telling them, can you guys break the group up into 2 or something? We flew a drone from the parking lot. Okay, I don't know which parking lot to the spiral. Okay, from the hieroglyphics. Yeah, that area. Well, there's a lot of areas like that. I will get to that. The new peak I have, but we had that spot up in Bluff Springs Mountain where me and Randy would go up, and we'd have brand new batteries and everything. Cameras and stuff and equipment, and there was this area we would cross, and we'd be taking some pictures and stuff, and then his battery would be dead, my battery would be dead, the cell phone would be dead, everything was dead, and we started taking putting brand new lithiums in, and then carrying lithiums in the pack wrapped up like in socks or something with spare socks. But we literally, once we passed through that area, sometimes have to replace. We kept thinking maybe we didn't. maybe we're not thinking straight on all this, but it was a fact that we started carrying spare batteries. And after we crossed through there, every time they died, we'd replace the batteries. But it was a spot where it literally, we're just talking AA and AAA batteries would just drain. And what was funny about that spot, because I knew kind of where the area was, what was really funny about that spot is as I was going down through there one day, I found all the old, rusted where the batteries were and where the old coils from inside the battery were there, all rusty. I found tons of those laying on the ground, like it had happened to a lot of people out there, and they dumped them. Now, I think it can be all dependent on so many natural occurrences that happens, not a UFO or anything special. But yeah, it was a natural thing that happened to us a number of times, and we found it puzzling. We never had bad footage. We never had our footage or anything wrong with the footage of the cameras when we did do what little filming we did up there and all the photography we did. Cameras, everything worked fine. It was just the draining on the batteries. Anything we had charged, anything that had a charge battery like you charge at home, we had to have spares, or like I said, the AAAs and AA's that went into the cameras, we always had to carry spare lithiums. And usually you put those lithiums in a camera, you go out, you're out for weeks, months with a camera using them. And we're talking a day, within a half a day, those things being worn out after maybe 4 or 5 pictures. Have you ever used anything to test for radiation? Yeah, we did that at the Spiral. We did it at the Spiral. We checked for radiation. We checked for all kinds of different waves and this and that and everything. And we didn't do a lot of it on camera, but we wanted to meter so many different possibilities to see what it could be. I didn't think it was going to be anything like that, but I wanted to check because of problems associated with it and see if there was anything that would be naturally occurring there. So it was just like EMF and anything, there can be a natural electrical sort of field, a magnetic field, something there, unexpected for natural reasons. So we were out there always checking. So I had meters always checking things just to see if there was anything really different. And the EMF was so dead out there. I mean, we had to literally take it over by a cell phone or put it next to something to get something to say, oh, well, it is working. And we did that the same thing. I don't think we've ever shown the footage of that. We had a site we went out to with a very strange rock formation that looks like it would be a portal type thing. And we did it with that. I don't believe in portals. Don't believe any of this stuff. We went out and filmed, and we took the EMF detector and we used it around it and through it and everything else. And then we utilized it with using it by equipment to show it working and stuff like that. Do the same with the pinpointer. I'll do it and show hot rocks and how it'll react to your hand possibly, and the metals in your body and different things. So I always like to show like how it can work and misfunction, or that it is functioning and turned on well and stuff like that. So we did do that at the Spiral, kind of tried to check because we knew a couple people had incidences in places. One was mercury poisoning and all. And we wanted to check and make sure we weren't going to run into something similar. Someone could say, oh, I was never near out there, but I got really sick from something. And that's where they were. I'm still here. I'm not sick. So I guess we were okay in that. Okay. Let's see. We've done... Have you ever had anything touched for radiation? So I was caught up. Damn. I hate when that happens. No, I don't. I like it when I'm caught up. But anyways, yeah, that was a big thing. And we do that almost everywhere. The TV show kind of started putting that into me. But before that, I did that. It's kind of like, as we've filmed the last 4 or 5 years, we always take samples in. We've taken them up to Woody. Frank takes a lot of stuff home. We label stuff. We know specifically where the sites are, where we got them, and they're crushed. They're checked for gold. We make sure everything's checked. But we don't want to bore everybody with, oh, here's Frank at his house, and here he's crushing this, and he pans it. No, he got a little bit of color here. Okay, what this is, and mark it on the X. It's interesting, maybe, and maybe sometime we'll do a little deeper dive in that. But we do a lot of that because there is a serious side to everything. So if you saw the stack of 8x10s from the spiral, that I make sure I make them so I have them digitally for the computer screen, but as well that I can lay them out on a table and look at them, because I'm always looking for something. Why didn't I catch that? Or what's this? Or, kind of looking at things from different angles and stuff. So there's a lot of time and stuff goes in, but when we film, we're just trying to do something that's interesting. And we always have to remember, when you're filming, at any given moment, someone brand new is going to stumble through the door. You want them to go look and say, oh, what is this? And kind of get interested and hooked in. If we get in too much to drilling it down to the little small stuff, people aren't going to stay in, because they're going to be lost. They're going to be like, well, what are they talking about? Why are they doing this? What is this about? I don't understand context, backstory. So the idea is to have something they're really into. And then these live shows and other things are where we fill in the blanks. Are Frank and Woody going to be at the Rendezvous? I would say yes. As far as I know, Frank's going to be there and Woody's going to be there. They said they were, and then I've still felt and planned they are. I know kind of a guest list. I always stay away from saying who exactly will always be there. I'll say Frank and Woody will be there. I don't think they have a problem with it. But there's a number of people that have already told me and talked to me over the last few weeks that they will be there. They'll see me there and this and that, and I look forward to that. But I don't know if they want everybody and their mother to know they're going to be there. Jack Sanfelice will be a guest speaker. I know he'll be there. James Simpson's going to be a guest speaker, so I know he'll be there. So as I confirm certain things, I can say certain things. But certain people. Greg Davis doesn't care if everybody knows he's there, because nobody cares if Greg's there. Sorry, Greg. But no, so a lot of people kind of they don't mind that people know and talk to them and so forth while they're there. They just really don't want the whole thing of everybody knowing they're coming. So there's a number of people that will be there, and that will be very cool. And they will be there, and it'll be nice, and I'm looking forward to it. But we're just not supposed to say anything up front. Frank ever light that cigar? Yes, he does. I think we put that on film once. We filmed it because he will light it. He lights it when he first starts it. He lights it, smokes it a little, then he taps it out, and then he chews on it. He always does that first. He always burns it first. But I think we were in Fish Creek one time, and he smoked the cigar. He smoked it on camera. So you'd have to go through and find it. But yeah, there's times he does, and he does smoke it. He never smokes it, I don't think, in the truck. I don't think he ever smokes in the truck. I think he chews on it and stuff. But there's a time after lunch or something, we'll be sitting there, and I'll look over and realize he's smoking the cigar. So it doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. And he always does light it before he chews on it. So he gets a fresh one out. Let's see. Well, Rocky and Jax. Hey, Rock. What's up? Hey, Jax. Okay, boys. Yes, okay. Okay, so let's keep going. And I can't wait for the weekend to be like-minded. He lights the cigar. Good episode of Woody showing crushing down something. And that's one of the things with Woody. We're going to have him set up and do something machine and showing and doing the process for people. I'm hoping to set something specifically up so he can do a little bit of a tutorial, and people can kind of watch and at the troughs and stuff, so he can kind of work with some people on little things. Like I said, man has got a ton of experience, has great teaching skills, so that would be good for anybody and everybody who wants to come down. Hey Wayne, what's your opinion on all these treasure signs, like guys who claim to follow animals, human faces? So the people that go, Howard Hornick, he was the caretaker at the Quarter Circle U, and Howard got a phone, and he would take pictures while he was out riding the fence lines. And I would sit there for 2 hours sometimes. I would go, see this? See the squirrel? Okay. See the squirrel? Yeah. See where the tail's pointing? Yeah. Okay, now see this? Okay, see the horse? See the horse's eye in the ear? See how the ear's folded over? Yeah, okay. Now see this? See the snake? 2 hours of that. And each time Howard did that, he'd say, see this? And I go, it's a rock. See this? It's a cactus. See this? No. So, yo, Bowman, glad you're still with us. Glad you're still logging in. Everything there, bud. So we'll have to someday, everybody can't see it close up when Bowman came to the rendezvous and flash up the picture. I have a picture of him with Joe Roboto and them looking down at a map in Joe's camp. It's actually a pretty good picture, but I got that picture somewhere. I have to find it. Anyhow, but that's kind of the animal thing, unfortunately, is I don't buy into that. Like I said, if you go up Heart Attack Hill, and you look back at the Dayside Cliff area, you'll notice it looks like a lion laying there, a big maned lion. And I've got pictures of it. It looks great. It's not carved. It's a massive natural mountain formation that looks like that. And that's generally my belief. I look at a lot of stuff that people think is carved and stuff, and I look at the striations and stuff, and they don't want to hear it. So I stay out of it politely, because if they want to believe that's what it is, I've seen things that have been carved in the rocks in the last 50, 60, 70 years. And it's very obvious. And if someone wanted to make, like I said, the only thing I ever found that I thought truly was old was two things. There was that cross in the rocks up on a certain point. And then on the end of those boulders, that stretch of boulders, there was a triangle with a dot in it. And it was very hard to notice. I actually was walking by it, and I found it by taking the picture. I stood there, was looking at a picture reference to make sure I could find the site and knew where the site was, to remind myself to go back, but also to document it. And I took the picture, and then I looked at it, and I was like, what's that? And I looked at it, and I said, well, it looks like that butt pixelation. I was like, okay, is that real? So then the next time I went out, I walked up to it and could see faintly that it had been carved into the rock, a triangle with a dot. But those are the two things that, and they could be fake as crap, but those are two things I found that I know are old. And the Peralta stones, that, the real Peralta stones are stones that say Peralta carved in them, that are scattered through the mountains. Those have been around a long time. The petroglyphs up on Blacktop, the Master Map area by Charlie Boy. It's not a map, but those petroglyphs are very old. That sort of thing. Never will go wrong following a horse's ear. Florida in the house. There's Florida. Are your dogs part herders? I got one border collie, 2 Aussie shepherds. So, yeah. I got one border collie, Jackson. He's just not listening. But Jax is a border collie. He's a ranch dog. Rocky is an AKC purebred Australian shepherd. He is a loudmouth and a boisterous, fun-loving boy. And then there's Dexter, who's a res dog. So he was a feral dog that was brought in, not a very pleasant boy. And someday we're going to do a Chasing Legends video on the history of Dexter and how he came and all, and how he's come to live here and his existence, which is very good for him. I think he's a happy dog. He's not, he's not a well-adjusted dog. He's basically, these two dogs have helped him adjust, but he's a very smart dog. But because he was feral, it's been a couple years, he does not trust people. He's always watching you at all times. You think he's sleeping, and then one eye comes open. So he lived a very difficult life, had a very difficult time, and they had to cage him. He actually attacked people. They were going to put him down. And I decided to see if I could rehabilitate him to be my mountain dog, because he's a good sized boy. He's a good boy, good dog. And I realized once I got him home, because he'll never probably ever be on a leash. He doesn't trust leashes, collars, or anything. He is scared to death. We've worked with him so many different ways and times. We just understand, let's make sure he has a happy life. And that's where he's at. He has a good life. I can sit with him and pet him now. He eats from my hand. He's happy, and he's as well adjusted as probably he'll ever be. Very smart dog. he just lived a rotten life, and it's there in his head since he was younger. And because of that, I don't think it'll ever change. And especially his experience after what happened with him associating with people, because a lot happened to him after they got him. But yeah, he attacked someone and bit him, and they quarantined him and were thinking of putting him down. And I just went down and said, you know what? I felt really terrible for him. He's just total in flight mode 24/7. And I just went, I really feel tremendously. This is such a great looking dog. I could see in his eyes all the fear and stuff. And I said, we're going to get him in the back of my truck in town. I'm going to take him home. So I didn't pay a dime for him. They just did the paperwork for me, gave it to me, and had me take him home. And I filmed a lot of that early on because he lived behind a bush in my backyard, and you had to go out, and it was hard to get him eat. He only would come out to eat and stuff when nobody was around. But it was a long process to where he's at now. And it's good for people to know. But yeah, I just thought, well, he didn't turn into the mountain dog, but he's one of my dogs. So, and he does have moments where he doesn't think you're watching. He plays with the other dogs out back. And it's very, very cool to watch because he's learning to be a dog. And I don't think people understand when a dog is trying to learn to be a dog. He is hilarious at it because he's looking at the other dogs trying to figure out what they're doing. He's a grown adult male dog, and he's trying to figure out, okay, so we're doing this with this ball. What does this mean? So he doesn't understand things. And he's looking to them to teach him. And I also know dogs don't really truly have a language and communicate because he's constantly does not seem to understand the other two dogs. The rapport is not there, but he follows them and kind of watches them and tries to learn. So it's good. And plus, because he's an Aussie, it's a good breed, but he's a res dog that got kind of loose out there. And there you go. Now you've been everywhere, but as you search nearby his boot, where Larry showed that small pit. Yeah, that was the brothers, the Hart, the Mullins brothers, Hart and God, what was the other one's name? Mullen brothers dug that. Yeah. Tom knew about it, told Larry where it was, and then they decided it would be a great idea to go up there and film that and present it as the Peralta mine, the Lost Dutchman mine. That was there. And then they almost died. I mean, they fell, lost a phone. Was it Charlie or Larry? One of them had a heart attack after that trip. I mean, it was a bad trip. And that was the one thing I said to I think I talked to Charlie after that once he was better at the time and just said, you guys should have never went up there and done that if you're in that shape. That was such a huge mistake. Don't just to film a video. It's not because you're really looking for something or trying. You knew already what it was, but you wanted to do a video to get views. That's such a cheap thing to do for your health and stuff. That's horrible. So it wasn't, yeah. And it kind of like Frank was pretty upset too because Larry and him were pretty good friends, and Tom and Larry were good friends, and yeah. So that was, yeah. But yeah, I've been there. I'd been there long before they had been. Tom had talked about it. And that was it Jess and Hart Mullins? Yeah, the Mullins brothers. They knew Herman and some people back in there. And that was pretty well documented. I think there were a number of stories and stuff. I was really surprised when they did it and did that. But I thought, outside of people that go Dutch hunting or know the mountains, most people don't know exist and don't know the history of the Mullins brothers and all that stuff. So, you know what? It doesn't really matter. I understand. It's just kind of like a thing. So there you go. They are awesome. Boston Terriers in the woods. Curse the curse. So the curse. So anyways, I'm going to get out of here because we're at 5:12. We've been running over and having a great time. I'm glad everybody's been coming in and we're having a good time and everything's working out really well. And this week we have the mic and set up. I do need to see this weekend. That's my thing. I'm going to have to put it in my phone as soon as we finish is get a longer cord for this so I can have the mic set up so I can get better audio. Because one of my big pains is when you hear people doing audio and you hear the hollow room and the echoes and stuff in the room. And this room is a very bright room. I will be changing that soon, but it still is a pretty bright room. And yeah, I like it when the room and you can hear the actual timbre and great tone from people's voices. I'm sure all of you would appreciate that because there's probably some of you are adjusting it and watching it and have speakers, but some of you are on a phone or have earbuds or something like that, or AirPods, and you're kind of listening to it like that. And the whole idea is to have the best audio possible when we're doing this. And being a guy from the music background, but that is one of the other problems is if Trevor's sitting over here listening to it, he might kind of judge it. I never hear the audio till after we're all done, after the fact. I never hear what the feed's doing. So there you go. Should probably, I don't know. I don't really want to sit here with headphones and stuff and earpieces and all that. Thank you again. Thank you. I mean, like I said, you guys are the reason kind of when you guys show up and we all do this. Later, take care. Be safe. See you in October. See you then. Kim, let us know how you're doing. Stay in touch. Let us know how you get through all that and everything. I know there's a rehab in this stuff and that stuff and everything else. So hope everything's fine with you and everything else. So, but again, for everybody that's been out here and joined us, I know some people maybe just went quiet. Maybe some people dropped off. It's always hard to tell. But I always want to say thank you for everybody that joins us on these and kind of jumps in because it's very cool. Even though I say, oh, great, Trevor, maybe do another live. I don't really mean it like that. I mean it like it's Friday and I'm tired and stuff. I don't have a problem with doing them. It's just, it seems like just keeps the day, just keeps extending. And I never get that beer 30 thing going. Really, it's usually, like we said, I'm eating dinner as soon as I finish. So tonight I will wrap it up and get it out of here. But again, I can't say it enough usually to people. It's like the rendezvous and a number of things when people come in. Great questions today. Great kind of rapport. I think it was kind of fun and everything else. So thank you, everybody. I'm sure I'll be live next week on Friday because Trevor will promise me all week. And I'm sure this is exactly where it'll be. I'll wear a different shirt. Maybe that's what I do. I'll wear a different shirt every week and we'll see how far I can go till I just have to go shirtless because I ran out of new shirts to wear. There you go. There's something to look forward to or to scare everybody off. So there it is. We're wrapping it up. We're having a good time. Everybody take care. This was Legends Live. And the next time you see me, I will not be live, but you'll see me, I hope, on Monday on Chasing Legends. So everybody have a great weekend, great rest of the week, and we will catch you on the backside. Have a good night.